bedtime story because although I do believe it is an engaging book, you know, it's also relaxing. You can put the kids to sleep. My house is not far now, said Bushrall, leading the others back into the woods. Mash positioned himself between Bushrall and the girls, forcing him to move to the other side of the group next to Beverly. Mash walked sideways as he directed all his attention at the visitors. How did you get from the Amaranth to Flowerantha? We still have not been able to figure out how transportation works between the two lands. Amaranth? Is that like a combination of America and Earth? Asked Beverly. Mash and Bushrall showed no recognition in their faces, and Beverly's cheeks colored as she shrank into herself. Sounds like it. It means other land, Mash helped. So how'd you do it? He galloped sideways with a goofy grin on his face as he waited for their answer. Maylin fidgeted with a thin, stretchy band around her wrist. We were playing in my backyard, running through the sprinkler, and I kind of fell through the water into the cave behind the waterfall. Mash's expression went blank, and Beverly added, Do you have sprinklers here? They're like a metal thing that shoots water into the air. They're for watering grass or running through. He sounded the words out one by one to process them. You were playing in the water at home, and you ended up in the water here. He gestured to their bathing suits. That would explain your, clothing. Beverly's bathing suit was blue with large flowers over it, and Maylin's showed a strip of her stomach and was pink with smaller scale flowers and a thin ruffle along the top. Beverly pulled the stretchy fabric, making a tent shape over her stomach. When she let go, the fabric snapped back in place. Yeah, it's really weird walking around some unknown place in just a swimsuit. I'm surprised Olivia didn't offer you something of hers, said Bushrall, bringing his attention back on him. Beverly giggled. Well, she wasn't wearing anything. I do not believe she wears clothes underwater, but she does when she's doing business on land. Oh. Beverly's sunburned face grew even pinker when she blushed. I could wish you something, but my wishes only last so long. Bushrall shrugged as much as he could under the load of the wheelbarrow and tossed his head to clear a lock of hair out of his eyes. My mother may have something acceptable. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Maylin's shoulder brushed against Bushrall's arm, and he veered away from her slightly. I do not. The girls nodded but didn't speak. I don't either, said Mash. I guess that means we have something in common, Bushrall. Bushrall smirked. What about you? Asked Mash to the girls. I have a younger sister, said Maylin. Her name is Kelly. Beverly didn't say anything until Mash's eyes flicked in her direction a couple seconds later. I'm the middle child. I have 2 older brothers, Steve and Rob, a younger brother, Willie, and a younger sister, Mary. Large family. I would want to have a large family, said Mash. Beverly heaved a sigh. It's exhausting. She cleared her throat. Hey, Bushrall, I don't want to be a wuss, but it kind of hurts walking through the woods barefoot. She tiptoed over the brush, holding a tree for support. My apologies, he said. I wish for 2 pairs of sandals for Maylin and Beverly. Beverly squeaked as a pair of leather straps wrapped around her ankle, and a sturdy bed of leather replaced the pokey sticks under her feet. Thank you, Bushrall, said Maylin. Beverly lifted her foot to inspect the sandal. Yeah, thanks, that's much better. Doreno, he said, you are welcome. At the clearing, an amazing sight greeted the group. 2 great trees stood in the middle of the field, with Bushrall's home built up in their branches. The main part of Bushrall's home was made of wood, built around the branches of a tree. It was cylindrical and 2 stories high, with 2 rows of thin windows and a pointed spire roof. From the house was a bridge to another tree and a wooden deck built into the branches of the second tree. How many of you live here? Mash gazed in wonderment. His entire home could fit twice easily into Bushrall's. Just my mother and me. Beverly clasped her hands in front of her. This is the coolest place I've ever seen. Where's your father? Asked Mash. Dead? Maylin lay her hand on Bushrall's shoulder. It is all right. It has been years. Now I just want to be a soldier like he was. I want to be a man he would be proud of. A petite woman popped her blonde head out of the treehouse door. She piled her wavy hair on top of her head and stepped outside onto the bridge. Cerulli and Bushy, who are your friends? Come on in and have tea, everyone. Bushrall gritted his teeth. I asked you not to call me that, Mother. The woman shrugged and continued pinning her hair up. Grazie you, madam, that's very kind, said Mash. Beverly and Maylin followed Mash up the wooden staircase that led to the front door of Bushrall's treehouse. The stairs creaked on each step. Do not mind the stairs, they are very old, but very safe. From afar, the dress Bushrell's mother wore appeared to be an ordinary but pretty green and white dress, but up close, the details were amazing. The bodice of the dress was made of thick pieces of grass woven together like a basket. Cream-colored flowers with soft petals covered the skirt and shoulders of the dress. I really like your dress, said Beverly. Grazie you. She straightened out her skirt, and a couple of creamy petals fell through the slats of the bridge and floated to the ground. If you are going to blend in, you will need to wear something like this. You may borrow some of my things. I'm not sure if we will be able to find anything to fit. She eyed Beverly. But at least you will be clothed. Come on in. Inside the door, Bushrell pointed to Mash first. This is a russet whose life I just saved. Apparently, Olivia has sent him to join me on my quest as my apprentice. We are to return these two visitors, Beverly and Mei Lin, to the Amaranth. Bushrell's mother covered her mouth and nearly choked on the hairpin between her teeth. Please do not tell anyone. Part of my quest is to make sure no one knows they are here. Our quest now. Mash bowed his head. Hello, madam. My name is Mash. Bushrell's mother giggled. No need to bow, Mash, but grazie you. I could get used to being treated like royalty more often. Please, sit down. I will make you all some tea. I would love to talk to some girls for a change. Go on in, said Bushrell. I'm going to prepare the gamboge meat. Everything inside Bushrell's house was made of wood. The trunk of the tree cut right through the center of the round room. Beyond that was a round kitchen table with 4 chairs surrounding it. To the right of where they entered was a small wooden bed with blankets pulled taut and tucked in the sides. To the left was a ladder leading up to the second floor. Bushrell's mother bustled into the kitchen and took a pitcher down from the shelf and set it on the table. I wish for donkleberry tea. The pitcher filled with a thick black tar instead of tea. Ma whoopie, what is this? Mash tipped the pitcher and stuck his finger in the black goop. Have you possibly used more than 3 wishes today? Of course, she said. Does everyone not use more than 3 wishes? Yes, normally. Well, if you wait here, Mash, Bushrell can wish us something to drink with our meals. Girls, if you follow me, I can find you some clothes. Beverly and Mei Lin followed Bushrell's mother up the stairs and into her bedroom. Mash picked up the pitcher from the table and tipped it back and forth while the gooey black liquid crawled from one edge to the other. He put his nose down into it and sniffed. It was fruity and fragrant, like donkleberry tea should be, but the consistency and color were all wrong. He set the pitcher down on the table when he heard the steps outside creaking. Where are my mother and the visitors? Bushrell carried a slab of wood heaped up with thick hunks of pink meat. Mash pointed up the stairs. Wiping his hands off on a cloth, Bushrell's sandals clapped the floor as he ascended the stairs. Bushrell wandered into the bedroom with Mash on his heels. The second floor was dedicated entirely to Bushrell's mother. A giant canopy bed stood against the back wall, with a dressing table on another wall. 3 bamboo wardrobes lined up side by side on the third wall, to the left of the trapdoor in the floor, and across the room from the bed. Bushrell's mother was digging around in a trunk at the foot of the bed. Bushrell sat backwards at the dressing table chair, and Mash stood nearby. Have you no decency, boys? There will be ladies changing in here. Please go downstairs and find something to drink. Bushrell's cheeks turned pink. I'm simply making sure you do not pick anything too fussy. They need to blend in and look like Floweranthans. Bushrell, I am a Floweranthan. They will look just like me. She continued digging in her trunk while the boys hovered in the background. She pulled out a green and purple knee-length dress. The top was made up of large, shiny leaves with bunches of lilacs on the neckline. The skirt was made of layers of evergreen leaves with more lilac bunches at the bottom. She held the dress up in front of Beverly. You may be able to squeeze into this. I wore it when I was pregnant with Bushrell. I was absolutely huge back then. Mother! Beverly's face went crimson. She took the dress and mumbled, Yeah, I'm really tall, thanks. She then disappeared behind the dressing curtain behind the wardrobes. Mash fiddled with some of the beauty instruments on the dressing table. You've met Olivia. Now she is really tall. You're not terribly tall at all, Beverly. A polite but forced laugh came from behind the curtain. Yeah, I guess. Bushrell's mother left the trunk open, but rose from her knees to open the middle wardrobe. Here are some things I kept from when I was younger in case I ever had a daughter. I want to keep the nicer things just in case, but I'm sure we can find something in here. Anything is fine, said Malin. Bushral shot her a sympathetic glance, and she returned it with a sweet smile. Bushral's mother selected a dress with a bodice full of orange mums. Here, try this one. She handed it to Malin. Taking the dress, Malin joined Beverly behind the curtain. Mash picked up a brush with coarse bristles and ran his finger over it. That is gamboge hair, said Bushral. I know that. When the girls walked out from behind the curtain, Bushral stood and Mash clunked the brush back down on the table. The orange complemented Malin's tan skin. Beverly's dress was a little shorter than intended, and she tried to smooth down the lilacs that were askew from being stuffed into a trunk for 12 years. These look better than expected. Mash's mother stood up from the bed and smoothed down the berries at Malin's waist and straightened the flowers at the bottom of Beverly's dress, tugging it down a little. Really, other than the length, you look lovely in this. You both look beautiful, said Bushral. The girls fidgeted. You look like you belong here. Mash's words sounded kind, but his expression was unsure. Maybe the visitors weren't so different from Floweranthans. Bushral's mother glided down the hall and led the group downstairs. Bushral, please wish us something to drink with our gamboge mead. I wish for 5 goblets of mead. She frowned, but no wrinkles formed on her face. You are a little young for mead. This is my first real quest. I think it is cause for celebration. He clinked his glass with Mash's before taking a swig. Mash gulped his drink and coughed as the bitter liquid stung his throat. You didn't poison mine, did you? He coughed again and wiped his mouth. Bushral laughed and slapped Mash on the shoulder. That is how it's supposed to taste, Russet. Drink up. Thank you for listening to Chapter 4, both parts. And
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. And
make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe.
And if you missed the other videos, click on Bek's books and go to the previous episodes.